Hello, all, and welcome to the Fantasy and Sci-Fi Fanatics podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Coolbaugh. Today, I have me a very special guest, JD Franx. JD, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Awesome,
Glad
awesome.
to be here.
I actually really appreciate you coming on. I saw you on Facebook a while back and a couple years ago, actually, and I had you on my list for a while. So I'm so glad that we could connect and get you on today and talk to you, about your writing journey, your books, and just getting to know you a little bit more for our guests on the podcast. So thank you so much.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime. We'll start right there with that first question. What has your writing journey been like up until this point?
Been interesting, that's for sure. Up and down, really up and down. I started out with a bang, actually. First three books did really, really well. And then COVID hit and things kind of changed a little bit. A lot of advertising algorithms were changed, and I had enough of a stable base. I didn't keep up with them, didn't have to keep up with them. So I don't make the money I did when I first started, but still can make a living out of it. I haven't had I guess you'd call it a real job or a hard working job in about 8 years now. So it's been
Oh,
my
they're
only income.
overrated, JD. They're so overrated. So,
Well, I was on the pipeline. I'm from Canada, so
oh,
I worked the
cool. Oh,
pipeline
cool.
majority of my life, and I
Oh,
don't
it's
miss it.
awesome.
I miss
Yeah,
the
yeah,
money at times, but I
yeah. Yeah.
don't miss the work. And yeah, that's about it. Now things are slower and harder. There's a lot of competition out there. I feel really sorry for those just coming into it.
Yeah,
It's how
yeah,
you get your head above water. I can't even imagine.
yeah. It's
For
like
me,
I just talked to somebody about that yesterday too. Like I was trying
yeah,
to they're like, I'm not sure. I'm like, just try these things. I'm like, something, just keep throwing something will stick at some point. But
it takes that determination, and it seems like in that 5 book range, if you get up into that 5 book
yep,
range with quality, with a good quality story, quick enough,
yep,
within 4 or 5 years, you seem to start getting above the water a bit. But
yep.
I don't know if new authors are making a living. I mean, obviously, there's the breakouts who are doing really well, especially in lit
Mhm.
RPG and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
in our straight classical, the epic dark fantasy, I don't know if the new writers are getting above the water or not. I haven't
yeah.
talked to anybody for quite a while. It's been 2 years since I released a book, so I was kind of checked out there for a while. But
Yeah, yeah. No, I totally get it. Yeah, it's definitely like hit or miss. I've met some people like the person I was just talking to, he probably doesn't want me to mention his name, but person I was talking to yesterday, I was trying to explain, I was like, he's actually doing pretty well. He's got a couple of products out within really like just over a year.
yeah,
And his third one's coming out. I'm like, dude, I'm like, just like hold, keep steady, I'm like most people haven't gotten the amount of sales that you have gotten. But there's, certain things that everybody can tweak, right? Like I talk to people all the time about book launches, all sorts of things.
yeah,
I actually had a couple authors that have done really well in fantasy and sci-fi in the indie community who have sent me their book launches. So I'm actually like tailoring mine a little bit more towards theirs. I had a novella that I was like ready to go with. I sent the developmental editor. Thank you, Sarah Chorn. And she was like, no, this isn't ready to go. And I listened because she knows more than me. And yeah,
I
it's
know,
like some
Sarah.
people,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, she's awesome. Some people though, just like never mind, right? They're not gonna listen to the more experienced people in the room. And my dad and mom have always been really big on like listen to people that are smarter than you and that know more than you because they're trying to help you. So, but everybody's trying
absolutely.
different things. So, I have a few different things that I'm trying that, I haven't really seen really since like Lindsay Broker's podcast and like Joe Lalo, where, they had like their sci-fi marketing podcast. So I'm trying a few of those things because I think a lot of these things, kind of come back around, right?
Yeah,
Maybe like making book one free doesn't happen, but maybe make it a 99 cents, right? And then the other ones, there's just
yeah,
different things. But yeah, it's very interesting, right? To talk to newer people versus people who have been in the game a while. I interview a breadth of different people because I figure I can learn a lot from each of them,
yeah,
and so can the audience. So I think that's a really great point.
yeah, absolutely.
Now, JD, I got to ask as a subset question here, why writing? Like, what made you be like, oh, I want to write? Like, I have to do this.
That's a long story, actually.
We got plenty of time.
I got
We got an
injured.
hour.
I got injured on a job site about
Okay.
holy cow, what would it be now? 23 years ago, almost
Okay.
20, yeah, almost 23 years ago. And I was going nuts at home. It was a permanent disability, so it wasn't getting better. There was no way I was going back to work, and I got bored. I needed something to occupy my mind, so I I'd read in probably the first 10 years or so or 8 years that I was injured. I had read everything I could get my hands on, from every piece of fantasy, post-apocalyptic, sci-fi. It was crazy. I read the entire Deathland series. There's like 270 some books. I read the
Yeah,
whole thing two or
that's
three times,
crazy. Yeah,
and there was nothing left to really read. You'd get, new release here and there or whatever, but so I just to keep my mind busy. I figured I'd start writing something that I'd like to read. And I
yeah,
started with the world building first. I had no intentions of actually writing a story. I was just, keep my mind occupied. So I built the world first. The world, the magic system, about 10,000 years worth of history, just kept me busy for a couple of years, or over a year for sure. And then I got to know Michael Manning pretty well, and I was talking to him about his publishing journey, because he's seriously, he's one of the godfathers of indie publishing. Back when he started,
yeah,
he
yeah.
was one of the
Nothing.
first few, no doubt.
Yeah,
And I talked to him, and and a couple of other people that I got to know online, and figured, well, maybe start writing a book, see what happens, and that's pretty much what I did. I didn't. Once I started writing, I actually wrote book 1 and 2 over the course of one summer, about just over 600,000 words over
jeez.
3 months, all in first person. And as I finished up the second book, it was like, yeah, I'm not happy with this at all in first person. So I went back and rewrote both books in third person, and
Wow.
that took me about a year.
Yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah,
after I got that done, I knew a really good editor, so we sat down together and we worked for quite a while, straightened out a bunch of stuff, and then eventually ended up publishing the first one. And yeah, it took about 2 weeks to take off, and yeah, it went pretty good. For a while there in KDB, it was pulling 100,000, 120,000 page reads a month, so
jeez.
it was doing pretty good for a long time. Back then, you could actually make a really good living off KDP, because the
Yep,
money they were putting in, there wasn't all that many authors in it. ten
yep,
thousand page reads was giving you about $70, $65. So I
yep.
think now we're down to 30, if that,
Yeah, yeah,
most months. So it's not. It's getting to the point where I'm seriously considering going wide, and that's
yeah,
something I
yeah.
haven't done, something I've never done, but it's something I'm considering doing.
Well, I just want to say, just mention that because I did talk to my friend about this yesterday with his book launch and stuff, and I was like, for him, I suggested like keeping because he's wide and he's thinking he might do better in Kindle Vella, right? Well, I would say like certain genres and subgenres, I think, and like length and stuff, I think do better in KU, but there's other
Yeah,
ones, right, that I think do better wide. So I just had suggested to him like talk to some people. I suggest keeping it the same now because his third book's coming out, right? I said, just keep it now because that might be the one that spurts you. I said, now, if
yeah,
anything, he's got a novella here and that's a separate universe and two. So I was like, take the other one, put that KU, keep the other two wide for now, and then, kind of see the difference. But that's what stinks, right? That's what's nice about being indie, right? But it also stinks because you have to almost wait like 4 to 6 months, right, for each
yeah,
item, to really
yeah,
like see, what the longevity of it's going to be, either way. Because I've seen some people, and I always suggest Lindsay Broker and Joe Lalo's podcast people, because you will literally see people. And granted, it's different, right? Because it's like 14,
yeah,
12, 14 years ago. I think they got done probably 6 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, something like that. And, things change a lot, particularly after the pandemic. We don't have like
yeah,
X or Twitter, right? I used to like have 100 views on one video, or RSS.com posts like just because of an X post, and that never happens anymore. Or Twitter, that never happens anymore.
yeah,
So yeah, it's a lot different, but I still think there's some good gems in there, just talking about like what people did and kind of
yeah,
what worked for them. So it's
yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
I
What
think
made you decide to go KU, if you don't mind me asking?
I didn't even know about it
Diversify.
actually when I first started. I just I put the first book up. I released a novella about 8 months before the first book.
Oh,
It was a story that I had been working on, had no intention of publishing it ever. And then I just figured, well, because I knew I was rewriting the first two books, maybe I'll put it out there and just give people a peek at it. It did okay. I made a little bit of money on it, not anything serious. And then I released the second book, which would be the first book of the main series. And the first 2 weeks I pedaled my butt for every sale I could get. I was pushing down into the 2,800, 2,700 overall Amazon ranking. I was pushing for
Wow.
every sale I could got. I busted my butt, really did. And then I think I got down to about 1,800, and
Wow.
I steadied off there for probably about 2 weeks. And then I heard about this KDP thing, and I thought, well, I'm not. I hadn't gone wide with the rest of the stuff. I was still putting all the different formats together because at that time, some wanted Mobi, some wanted
Yeah.
Docs.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted a different format. So I was still getting all the formats put together. And I figured, well, it's only 3 months to lock it in. Let's see what happens. Well, yeah, it didn't take long because I already had a decent ranking. So as soon as I put it into KDP, I think Amazon really pushed it hard. I know
Yeah.
it was getting blasted to me in their email blast probably 3 times in the first week alone, four
Oh,
times in
wow.
the first week alone. So I
That's
knew they
awesome.
were pushing it pretty hard. And then they ended up pushing it down to about 400. And it
Wow.
stayed there. It stayed there for quite a while. And I was doing so well, there was no reason to pull it out. And then when I released
And
the second book, it dragged both of them back down. The first one went down to my best overall, I think, was 308 on the
wow.
first book
That's impressive.
and 312 or 314 on the second book. And so I just figured, well, everything seems to be working fine. They're doing phenomenal with 2 books in KDP. I was doing 100,000 page reads a month. It
Jeez.
was it was just there was no reason. And then I was getting sales
Yeah.
on top of that, so there was no reason to think about going wide.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just kept it like that. And even now, I don't hit the rankings I used to because I don't push for the rankings like I used to. I don't advertise anymore. I just release for my solid fan base. I still get new readers quite often,
Mm.
but I don't advertise like some authors do. I don't. It hasn't been worth it since the algorithm changed during COVID. It just for
Yep.
me it hasn't been worth it. There's no need to spend $1,000 a month to make 3,000 a month. So why would I?
Yep.
It
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense. So I don't advertise. I haven't advertised in probably 3 years.
Oh, interesting.
So I just let them out there and do their thing. And little too long in between this time. Bank account's getting a little on the dry side, but
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know because it's been pretty much a full 2 years. But so that's how I. And now I should say now. I think I'm gonna if I do decide to go wide, I'm gonna decide I'll probably end up going wide, and then with every new release, I'll probably put the new release in KDP for the first 3 months as it's required. That way, it'll give my KDP readers who have been long term or long time
Good
readers
call.
access to it for their Prime membership or their Kindle membership, whatever they're using to get it.
Mm.
KDP Select, and then that way everybody will be happy. And I've actually gotten quite a few requests I'd say probably the last year about people asking if it's available on Apple, Barnes and
Oh,
Noble,
that's awesome.
other. So I think it's about time. The rest of the books, when I'm not in a release, they might pull 100, 200 page reads a month. So for me, that doesn't pay to keep
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
in there anymore. So might as well. At least it doesn't hurt to see what happens anyway.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I hope I hope it goes really well for you. I've seen people who, who have done that and still were able to, yeah, like keep, their previous fans happy, within
Yeah,
KDP and Kindle Unlimited, and then, really were able to get, a wider audience. So for me, like it kind of stinks because it's like I really I'm gonna have to go wide because like there's so many. One of my strategies is like selling in person, and I have
yeah,
so many. It's great, right? I have so many indie bookstores here near me. It's fabulous, right? And comic stores and stuff. But I have to go wide in order for them to, buy from
yeah,
England and some other places. So
yeah.
I've already talked to them. So, but I'm hoping that, that goes well. But yeah, so I'm hoping that the switch over, like I was saying, I've known quite a few people that have done that in the past. So I hope that, you keep that current fan base, but also, go wider with it, with the audience. So
Yeah.
I hope that goes really well. That's super
Well,
cool.
I know a few authors who are wide, only ever been wide, and they seem to make a living. So
Yeah.
it might be worth checking out, especially for the older books
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
anything.
Yep. I was gonna say,
Yeah,
and you're not like new either, right? So you have a fan base, you know what I mean?
yeah,
So that tends to help people out a lot as well too when they decide to go wide from Kindle. So I think
yeah.
that's really smart. So for our audience, do you mind just telling us what genre or genres you currently write in and why?
I'm pretty much an old school epic fantasy with a a heavy dose of darkness. Yeah, there's a reason why the series is called Darkness Within Saga.
That's awesome. I actually don't know if I think I have all of them now. Actually, no, I know. I need to get the newest one, or the last one. I had realized I had missed it, and I had a gift card situation go awry. It's been an interesting 2 months for me. Somebody like took my like used my card for fraud or whatever, and then my
Oh
gift
yeah,
card.
yeah.
Yeah, my birthday card was attached to it. So I had like that one and a few other ones like on my next gift card list. And it's like a pretty substantial gift card. So I really cannot wait to get that re-access this week so I could just like they're gonna be like, wait a minute, the gift card company's gonna be like, are you sure you want all this on Kindle? And be like, yes, this was the place where I
Yes.
wanted it to be from the beginning. So I wish Amazon had like just a Kindle card and like Audible. Sometimes like
Yeah.
just Amazon cards like kind of weird, you know? Yeah, so I think that's really cool. I love your covers, by the way. Like always, always super cool. Do you have like the same cover artist? Have you used a couple different people over the years, or?
I've used three over the years. I used Joel Lagerwall for the first two, and then Amalia Chidalescu has done most of the other ones. Her sister did Fall to Rise because Amalia quit for a couple of years
Okay.
for personal reasons. Let's just say personal reasons.
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody's business why, but for
Yeah.
personal reasons, she quit for a couple of years. So I needed a book cover done, so I used her sister, who
Oh, that's
is
cool.
almost as good. Not quite as experienced, but yeah. So that's one thing I've always been known for is my covers. So
Yeah, yeah.
I usually I guess I should say four too. I guess because I did use oh terrible. I'm just terrible with names lately. It's been such a long month trying to get this book ready.
Oh, I feel you.
Uh, for Nara's Grace,
Hmm.
I used different artists. That one's actually all hand drawn art and
Oh,
then
wow.
digitally painted.
Oh,
It was pretty expensive, but oh, it was worth it. I wish I could afford to have him do all of them
yeah,
because he's
yeah,
an amazing artist, and I can't remember his name for the life of me.
yeah.
And I don't have a no, I don't have a copy of it here. I borrowed out my author copies and never got them all back yet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that's
So
okay. That's just going to force the audience to see what we're talking about. They're going to have to go to the description
yeah,
and check out your book and social links. Oh, darn. Don't worry, everybody. We planned this. But I've always really enjoyed them. So I think that, like obviously all four of them did a really fantastic job. So,
oh, absolutely. They're all phenomenally artists. There's no absolute incredible artists, all of them. I like uh, I like Amalia the best because she's reasonably priced for covers of that quality. She's
mm,
reasonably priced, but she does a mixture of photo manipulation and hand drawn art, so
that's
she
cool.
can pretty much get you what you want. She bought assets for me quite a while ago,
Mm,
so she has the my lead characters on most of the front pages
mm,
or most of the covers, front covers. So all of them look similar because they all come from the same asset. So
that's
that's
cool.
one thing I like about her, and she's not into to AI. So,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
and that's one thing that I want. I want to be able to hold on to my copyrights and my usage rights and stuff. I don't want to have any discrepancies with that at all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just makes life too
That's-
difficult.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I totally get it. So in terms of books now, so we're going to kind of transition into there and talk about them kind of explicitly from now till quite towards the end. So what are your books, The Darkness Within, about, and how'd you come up with this idea for the series?
I have no idea. I'm a
That's a
pants
great answer.
I'm a pantser writer. I have been a pantser since the beginning. I just sat down after I built the world. Though the world building, I spent a lot of time on, like I said, over a year and a half building the world. So I picked out the one time frame that appealed to me the most, and just sat down and I had all my character sheets and everything there from the world building, and I just started writing, and bam, it was just there. Everything was there. It just the first two books came flying out in a couple of months, just unbelievable. I think it helped because I wrote it in first person, like I said before, and I think that helped because
Mm,
then once I got it all out and understood that that's not exactly the story I wanted to tell, then once I went to third person, I really became a pastor. That was just everything was just there. I do a little bit of planning ahead now. 8 books in, probably around the sixth book, I had to start. I got so many different storylines going. You kind of have to plan ahead. And some books I leave storylines out because they go off and they do their own thing. I'm not going to write about them doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
When they become relevant, then I bring them back in. Maybe lose a few readers that way because everybody has their favorite storylines and their secondary storylines, but that's just the way my brain works. So when they're relevant, they'll come back in.
Yeah. That's like
But
Stephen
yeah,
Aaron said. He made a living off of that, right? Like
yeah,
uh, throwing them for
you
four
know,
books later, and then you're like, oh yeah, I forgot about my favorite character from 4 books ago. Like now here they are again. Like
yeah. I have a lot of notes when my computer goes. Actually, I back up most of my stuff, so I learned that lesson at the beginning. So I back up all my stuff to a flash drive, but my last flash drive actually it was so old it became incompatible with my computer when it did an
oh,
update.
oh
So then it was for whatever reason after losing I think it was my second computer when it crashed, my hard drive crashed, and I lost so much stuff. The recovery managed to get some stuff back, but
yeah, yeah,
I lost so much, and I had to redo everything. I was like, that's never happening again. So
yeah,
now
yeah,
I upload everything to the cloud. I
yeah,
have
yeah, yeah.
everything on a flash drive. So when the flash drive went, it had literally just done an update 3 days prior to the cloud. Everything had
Oh,
been
jeez.
I've never lost anything. I
Oh,
was like, I was in panic mode because I couldn't figure out why my computer wouldn't recognize my flash drive, and I am not a tech guy at all. I'm Give me a motorcycle and a bunch of wrenches, and I can do fine. But when it comes to tech stuff and computers, it's just not my thing. So
yeah.
I was pretty concerned for a couple of days until I figured out when got a new flash drive, and then I put everything from the cloud onto the flash drive, and now we're back in gear again. So
Oh, wow. I just
because there's a
realized
there's
it's
a there's a lot of files on there after
yeah, yeah,
8 books, and the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
first
Imagine.
first 5 books probably averaged 250,000 words a book.
Wow.
I've had to start writing smaller books. It's not worth it anymore writing them that big.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
again, I lose a couple of fans, but for me, this is my livelihood. So I don't have another job. This is how I pay my bills. So I I need to be able to make a living. And the way things are going, it's getting awful hard.
Oh yeah,
Amazon's taking a bigger chunk of our audiobooks now, and
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
under contract to Podium, so they've been fantastic. But guys got to be able to make a living at least a little bit, right? I don't
yeah,
need to make
yeah,
6 figures a year, but I want to pay my bills. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep. No,
so
totally.
we gotta do what we gotta do.
Yeah, that's like I've seen so many people switch to their own store for, like fulfillment agencies and stuff like that for their own, just to
Yeah,
make more off of the, paperbacks, hardcover, stuff like that. So,
yeah. If I had the tech know-how to do it, and then keep an eye on it without having to pay somebody to do it,
yeah,
it might be something I'd look at too. But yeah, technology's not my thing.
yeah.
Really
Yeah,
not.
definitely a big barrier to entry there. Done a lot of tech stuff, but even that, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, like people were explaining to me, I was like, that's gonna take like a lot of setup. Like
Yeah.
I still have the
Yeah, I
time.
eventually I eventually let my website go because it was too much. I have an uncle who lives in the city here with me, and he was giving me a hand with it. But every time I had a problem or needed a new plugin or something, I had to go get him because I
Yeah,
couldn't get it to work. I couldn't understand. Yeah, it's not my thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I mean, kudos to people who are. I give them credit, but yeah, it's definitely not for me.
It's not the most fun. I have two.
Yeah,
My author one is broken right now. It's like just not. It's not connecting to the URL or the .com I bought was my name,
yeah,
and it was like the wrong email. I was like, no, it's definitely the same email. So it's been like a year and a half. I was like, before I release, I'm gonna have to like try and fix it like the next couple months or something. But the podcast one helps me out and helps people see, the podcast and stuff. But some
yeah,
days I'm just like, ugh. My friend set it up for me. He's in IT, so and I can do it myself, but it's nice that he set it up for me, and all I have to do is kind of maintain it. But I told him one point, I was like, I just can't do it. My kid was just born. I was like, I need an overhaul. I was on like Wix or whatever for a long time. And then we switched to WordPress, and he was like, "I'll do it for you." I'm like, "Okay, sweet." And he set up the whole thing, and it was just so much easier that way. And all I have to do is just add a couple of links or posts every so often. So, Yeah, it's interesting. Well, we'll get in.
You got a little one running around then, eh?
Yeah, I got 2.5. I had to get you on his nap time. I was like the other
Mine
day, I
are.
was like, shoot, I screwed this up. I was like, I had to go get it because my wife had to go to work after work. So I was like, oh gosh darn it. Yeah, it was definitely a lot easier to interview people. Like I had like that's like I had a lot of emails with people. I'm like, I just was not able to get to them like the last like this whole summer. Because I was like continuing to film season 4. And I was like so slammed at work. Like when I got home, I was literally with him. And it's like I have my own stuff I'm like prepping too for release and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's fun, but it's very difficult sometimes to get the words out after being tired and running around with him and stuff. But he is a
Yeah,
lot
I'm
of fun. If
lucky.
you're watching this, buddy, later on when you're actually able to understand, you're great. Dad's just really tired. So
Mine are both in university, so I'm lucky.
oh, nice, nice. That's awesome. That's super cool. So we'll get talking about the legacy. So can you tell us a little bit about book 1 in the Darkness Within Saga?
Book one. Boy, that's a long
It was a
time
while
since I
ago.
looked at that
Do
one.
you want me to read the blurb for you? I got it right here.
Yeah,
So
that was one of my better blurbs. I remember that one.
it's a
I
great
think I
one.
remember. Yeah, I thought it turned out pretty good. It's pretty much explains the story the way it is.
Well, it's awesome. So the first thing for me, so I'm just going to read it for our audience. So Death Wizards have been the scourge of, how do you say it? Is it Talona?
Kelowna.
Talona for over 5,000 years. They are executed at birth or hunted to the death. There are no exceptions. Pulled by magic and blood sacrifice into a world he can't possibly begin to understand. Is it Cal Sims? Is that how you say it?
Hale Symes.
Symes, sorry. Kale Symes soon finds himself the focus of a Talona-wide manhunt. Desperate in trying to stay ahead of Archwizard Gideon Zeraxis' execution squad, Kale soon discovers that Talona's Archwizard may be the least of his worries. An ancient witch coven is also on the hunt for Kale, and they'll stop at nothing to find their messiah. First, trapped far below the earth inside the long-lost Dwarven prison Arkham Zool, Kale has few allies he can trust. After months of torture and suffering, he is quickly running out of time to recover what was stolen from him, the magic of the Death Wizard. So between that blurb and the cover, I am not surprised that people bought that. That's one of the best blurbs I've seen, definitely within the last couple of years, but just overall. So I think that that was really well done. Do you mind without doing spoilers? Because I actually have, like I said, I just bought the other ones off my gift card, my previous one. Do you mind telling us a little bit about book 1? Maybe like, in terms of like what you did for like, to set up the world building for the first book, or maybe some of the character development, things like that.
Uh, that's a big book. That one. That's a really big book. That one. Um, it's the first book in an epic fantasy series, so it starts a little slow, right? Um, I write different than other authors. At least I think I do anyway. A lot of readers have said the same thing. I use prologues and epilogues, but
Oh,
I don't use them the way a lot of authors do. 1,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago. My prologues and epilogues are always relevant to the story.
oh, cool.
So with the first book, it starts with in the epilogue. It starts with how Kale was born, the circumstances of his birth, what happens, and why they decided to exile him as opposed to kill him, or they couldn't keep him. The archwizards in Talona are the premier mages. They when it comes to magic, their rule is law. When it comes to magic, they can overrule kings, emperors. They deal with magic that's their purview, no questions asked. At the time in those books, the only living archwizard was Gideon Zeraxis,
Mm.
and Kale is his son. So he has to do something. Kale's birth was also tied to a prophecy, a really old prophecy, and they were afraid that he might be the one to trigger it. So if they killed him, even at birth, there was a chance that he could return someday. So they decided to banish him instead.
Mm.
Well, when you're born with that kind of power like Kale was, other people want to use it for their own ends. So a witch coven brought him back, but the blood sacrifice that brought him back from a world like ours to Talona kind of went awry because Gideon stuck his fingers in there and messed it up. He tried to stop it from happening,
Hmm.
and it didn't work. It pulled a bunch of other people in. Kale, his best friend, his wife ended up, and a couple of others ended up coming in as well, as you learn in other books.
Hmm.
So once he's back, everybody was separated. Kale was separated from his wife and his best friend. They ended up, Gideon ended up landing them in his tower, whereas Kale just kind of went awry and ended up someplace else. And in the first book, Kale's trying to figure out what happened and why people are hunting him. And on the other side, uh, the Archwizard's trying to convince everybody that we gotta get to him, we gotta stop him, we gotta do this type of thing. And then a whole bunch of stuff happens after that, and it's basically a chase book. They
Oh,
chase
cool.
him for the majority of the first book and into the second book, if I remember right. Yeah, my brain's terrible. Absolutely.
Well, it's a good
Yeah.
thing. You wrote it down, right? Like people can just go read it or listen on Audible or
Yeah,
something like
the easiest way is to read it. I haven't looked at the first two books in a long time. Now that I'm thinking about going wide, I'm gonna have to go back and look at them.
that.
Probably give them another pass of cleanup.
Yeah,
First two books, new author, you don't, you make some mistakes, right? So
yeah, I know.
I, my original formatter, she still has all the copies of the books that she formatted,
Oh,
so
cool.
I can get them from her, and then go back and I'll do another really good uh, spell check pass and stuff like that, and
Yeah, yeah.
before they go wide. So that's 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 when I'll figure out, how many people I forgot and
It's fair.
storylines I forgot
It is a
probably. And
lot. To be fair, JD, it's a lot of words ago. So
it's a lot of work, because, like I said, I spent so long building Kelowna that everything was there and established ahead of time. And
yeah,
it's so much information. I wrote it, I thought of it, I created it. I can't remember everything anymore. I just
yeah,
can't.
yeah, yeah.
It's just
Oh,
way too much work.
yeah.
I
Well,
tell
it's
you,
hard.
I have a lot of respect for Tolkien and Terry Brooks and the other godfathers of this genre. I have a lot of respect for them.
Yeah,
How they managed to create. That's why they're who they were and
yeah,
are, is because they're a lot better at it than I am. That's for sure.
yeah. That's fair. I was gonna say like epic fantasy too is really difficult, right? Because you're writing such long stories, right, for each book.
Yeah,
Like I know like Erickson, for instance, it's like my buddy and I just got done with Mal's Book of the Fallen like about a year ago. I think it was like
yeah,
last Christmas actually, yeah. And now we're on like Stormlight Archives. But yeah, like I know like he was saying like he would have to reread or at least listen to like the audio for like the first two books, right? Because some of his,
yeah,
like I said, like kind of like you're saying, like some characters are here,
yeah,
there's two books. So he'd have to like kind of go back and be like, what was I doing? You know, and those are pretty big chonkers too, you know.
yeah,
Yeah, so I mean it's kind of just the genre, I think. I know people that do that for, same thing for every book, right? Even if it's like 200
yeah.
pages, So I think it is what it
It's
is,
actually a really good idea. I never thought of that. It is. It would be much easier to listen to the audiobooks
He suggests
than
that
it
on a
would be to.
podcast. Yeah, he suggests that on a podcast that we listened to because like we were trying to figure out the magic system a little bit more, and
Yeah,
I happened to see it. It was like it wasn't Daniel Green, it was somebody else, but I forget who it was, but it was like a really good one, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. But he mentioned that from a writing standpoint, I thought they were just going to talk about the books, and
yeah, yeah.
I thought it was so cool. I was like, oh, that's a really great idea. Like being a dad, I'm like,
Absolutely.
I'm gonna have to do that in the future. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I was like, that's genius. So I think that's so much easier
That's
because you could
a
just be
great
working
idea.
or whatever, right? Yeah,
Yeah, that's a
and
great
doing it.
idea.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
start doing that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I thought that was genius. Well, for
Yeah,
me, like that one, I mean, I love the cover, first of all. Like, it's such a cool cover. Yeah, but for me, like, in terms of like why I, as a reader, thought, like I need to buy this and pick this up soon, was really, like I didn't realize, I think I had seen, I'm gonna look back at covers. Okay, so I had seen for you, it must have been, it was a while ago. So I think it was like book three. So Yeah, so I had seen book three, so I hadn't actually seen book two and one. I must have like like just found you on Facebook or something, at the time,
Yeah, yeah.
or had seen it from somebody. I think I actually saw it from somebody, and then like friend requested you or whatever, and followed on Amazon and stuff. So then I went back for the first two. I was like, oh, there's more of these. That's really cool. But yeah, for me, like I really was really interested, just in general about the magic system, and just like you said, 5,000 years. I was like, holy crap, like that's really cool. So for me, I already felt like the world was really deep.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to know I was right when you're talking about, spending this long on world building. So, and I always loved dwarves, first of all. Just maybe it's father, Papa Tolkien. But yeah, Death Wizard just sounded like that was like the first word was Death Wizards. I was like, what a great way to start a blurb. And then you ended with it too, towards the bottom. Then you said it's his only hope for escape. And I just felt like it was really, real concise and had some really great keywords there. So I just want to let the audience know that's why I bought it, and it's on my reading list. So yeah.
I've heard from quite a few readers. The weapon that's
Oh,
on the
so
first
cool.
cover dragged a lot of people bought it just because they wanted to know what the weapon was and how it
I
was used.
get
Because
that.
it's not very practical in a fight.
Yeah,
But the way he uses it, it is. He uses it to slash as he glides by using magic and stuff like that. So,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then you learn later on it has a sentience. I mean, you gotta
Oh,
have
that's
a
cool.
sentient magic weapon,
I
right?
feel like you
And
do.
then it
Yeah,
can
yeah.
change. It can change form. And
Oh, that's cool.
yeah,
That's
I
really
won't
cool.
say anything for spoilers, but the further the books go on, the more renditions of it you see. So
Oh, that's
I think
cool.
that tends to grab a lot of readers. That one.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, super cool. That was like it's like your eye gets drawn to it right, like right away,
Yeah,
like kind of mid, and then you go down to the blade, then you go up, and then you're like, wait, and then you got kind of keep going. So yeah,
yeah,
definitely super cool. But again, it just goes to show, right? I always tell people, I always talk about cover, blurb, right? And to me, like 6% cover, 40% blurb, and I'm there. I don't look at reviews personally. I don't look at author website. I'm just like cover, blurb, sounds cool, bought.
yeah. I've never bought in a book and read the review prior to buying it.
Yeah,
Never.
yeah,
I know a lot of people do.
yeah,
For
yeah,
me, probably the biggest thing that's going to catch my eye is the cover.
yeah, yeah,
If
yeah.
you have enough, and I mean, I'm not particular about style or whatever, but if as a writer, if you have enough pride in your work to put some effort into your cover, that'll be the first thing that catches my eye. And
Yep.
then, like most other people, the blurb.
Yeah, yeah.
So I worked on that blurb for a long time. It was a long time before I was satisfied with it, and I still try to do that. But it's as the book gets on and as the book series goes on, it gets harder to write a good blurb because you're
Yeah, yeah.
limited by spoilers.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you're really limited, right?
Yeah.
So
You don't
at
want to
least
be
at
Glenn
least the
Cook.
first one. At
Yeah,
least the first one, sure.
yeah. So you don't want to be Glenn Cook. I have 42 pages left, and I was flying through. I'm not going to say which Black Company book it was. I was flying through, and I thought I'll just look and see what the next blurb is. And spoilers, never do
Oh,
that with a Glenn Cook book.
I
It's like the
always I always try I always try not to
oh,
have
it's
big
horrible.
spoilers, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
kind of hard. It's kind of hard not to when you have progression series.
yeah,
It's kind of
yeah.
hard. It's hard not to, but I try to limit
Mm.
as much as I can and just keep it focused on the story. And I try not to give. I noticed. I don't know if I shouldn't say it's new indie authors, but some indie authors have a tendency to put spoilers of the current book in the blurb.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I've
yeah.
had a couple like that, and then you read through the book, and I'm like, well, you know, all I really needed to do was read the blurb, and I pretty much got everything or most of it
Yeah,
anyway. So I
yeah, yeah,
try to
yeah.
keep that in mind too.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Very interesting style that some people have chosen recently. I'm not quite sure why, but yeah, it's interesting.
I don't know. I
So
don't.
it's
I don't. I don't get a lot of chance to read anymore. So
Hmm.
when I do, I try to pick something that I think I'm going to enjoy, and I don't get a
Yeah,
chance to read because if I have a chance to read, then I'm usually writing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep.
So
No, I get that. I've been in like a writing slump lately because I've just been so tired. So I've been getting a lot of reading done, but now I'm getting
well,
back to writing, and I'm like my reading's gone down. I'm like just gonna. That's why I like the audio because I can listen to half a book and then I'll read the other half. Like when I'm
yeah.
doing stuff or whatever. Yeah, it's so much. Otherwise, I won't get anything read. It's just like
Well,
my
I
life
know.
right
I know all about slumps. It's been 2 years since I released the book, so
now. Yeah.
That's been my longest release in between by far.
Well, if it makes you
But
feel any better, if you're traditionally published, that's like probably really quick. So, because I know some
true,
they're like 4 or 5 years right now, between like releases at least, maybe like
yeah,
2.5, 3 years, between books, particularly in epic fantasy. I've talked to quite a few of them, like recently in particular.
yeah.
But
I
yeah.
noticed that Calcade's release schedule when she signed
Mm.
traditional for that series for her new series
Yep.
really slowed down, which kind of
Yep.
sucks because I liked her indie series, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it happens, and I can't blame her. All the power to her. Um, I didn't I didn't go traditional. I had the chance to go when the first three books actually were doing so well, but I couldn't see. I was making really good money. Books were selling really well. I couldn't see an upside. I just couldn't see an upside. They're not interested in your current series,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
means the people that are supplying your bread and butter, you're gonna have to put them on hold. And
Yep.
I couldn't see I couldn't see a benefit to it. I
Yeah, yeah,
couldn't.
yeah. No, I
So I
totally get that.
decided to stay indie.
Yeah.
And I know there's a couple others out there too. I know Michael Manning was offered, probably been offered a couple of times because his newer series is done phenomenal.
Mm.
So I would imagine he's had a couple of options to go traditional too, but it just it's so hard nowadays to decide to go that way. I have a lot of respect for those who do. Brian Anderson, I think he went that way too, or was thinking of going that way a while ago. I haven't been keeping up. I've been out of touch for a couple of years. I just needed a break for a while, and
Yeah, yeah.
uh, I am still physically not in the best condition from my work accident years ago. So sometimes my writing's a little slower, and
Mm.
I don't know. It just the way things go, I guess.
Yeah,
I definitely don't want to go 2 years between releases ever again.
yeah.
It gets really hard on the pocketbook, but
Yeah, yeah.
so hopefully, I'm hoping to have another one ready by the new year. I do have a smaller one that's almost ready to go. I've been working on it for about 5 years. It's a cozy fantasy one,
Oh, cool.
kind of. I don't know what you'd call it. No violence, stuff like that. Really small
Yeah, yeah.
town story type of stuff, but
Oh, cool. Well,
it's
Cozy
almost ready.
Fantasy's in right now. You see quite a few of them, indie, in
Yeah,
particular, doing really well. So,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's
Actually,
still a
it is.
newer subgenre, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, kind of like like RPG is even older than that, and romantic, that and Romantasy are both like really up and
yeah,
coming still. So I think they're going to be like the new lit RPG, within
yeah.
the next like 3 or 4 years, that kind of thing. But yeah,
Well,
I've read quite a few good ones.
Epic Fantasy always has such uh,
Yeah, yeah,
big scale that it's nice to calm down a little bit.
yeah.
In my books, there's the Albanor Marketplace, which is world famous in Kelowna, and so I've always wanted to write some stories about the marketplace because
Oh, that's cool.
it's just it's a cozy little marketplace. Albanor is a small mountain town, happens to be right along several main trade routes. So the marketplace is pretty famous in the books. It's been featured in several books, and they have annual festivals and stuff like that everybody will travel weeks for to come be a part of and stuff like that. So I always wanted to kind of write about it a little bit just to unwrap my brain from those mass
Yep.
world threatening scales,
Yeah,
calm
yeah,
down a little bit.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I've been working on it in my spare time for probably the last 5 years. It's almost done.
Oh,
And
that's
if
cool.
I sat down and buckled down, I could probably have it ready to go in a couple of weeks because the majority of the story is already there.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
been
yeah.
writing scenes as as I feel like a little bit of a break from the other stuff. So
Oh, yeah, yeah. I totally get that. Yeah.
I can't decide whether or not I want to take a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks to a month to get it ready, or do I keep going? Every time I release a new book, I get that itch to keep going
Yeah, yeah.
because my story is probably the Darkness Within Saga story is probably 3 or 4 books away from being done.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's hard to tell being mostly a panster, but I know where the general story is going type of thing. So it's still a few books away from that story's being done. And then once it's done, I could pretty much branch off into anywhere. Lots
Yeah.
of people have asked about the history and the original Death Wizards and how the gods ascended and all that stuff. So I mean, I got lots of storylines and lots of history I could keep writing, but we'll see what happens, I guess.
I mean, it's hard to choose, right? I have a friend who, well, Herman Stewart Angle, he was doing like dystopian sci-fi, and I think he was like on book three, and then he was like, I just need a break. You know, like same thing, like pretty not as
Yeah,
large as epic fantasy, but still that he writes like pretty big sci-fi books, in terms of both subgenres
yeah,
and things like that. And but he went cozy fantasy. He's on like his third one right now. He's like
yeah,
he's like I'm selling. He's like, and I don't really have to advertise as much. He had a couple of
yeah,
Kickstarters that, did a really good job. So for him, like he said the same thing. He's like, I want to go back. I got two more books, in the series. He's like, but I'm just going through this other story right now and it's doing really well. He's like, so, for him it was kind of like the same thing.
yeah.
But yeah, you never know though. Just saying though, JD, like that might be the thing, to kind of propel you, to finish up the series. I have seen some people kind of take a break that way and do one and then kind of go from there and then kind of
Yeah,
then
I
do
did
it
it.
too.
I did it once. I took a break
Okay.
once and wrote about the Northmen. My Northman people are loosely based off of Icelandic Norse people.
Oh, that's cool.
So I took a break to write uh, their origin story because they're
Oh, that's
not they're
cool.
not from mainland Kelowna. They're from Soken, and it's across the ocean. Anybody who's ever tried to find it never returns, type
Oh,
of thing.
cool.
And they showed up. They showed up during the cataclysm, during Chrysalis cataclysm. They showed up in Kelowna. The whole chunk of their land broke off during the cataclysm and then drifted. They used the mages that live up in the mountain. They're not really mages. They use rune stones and draw magic out of rune stones
That's
and
awesome.
use magic that way. And they kept the island safe until it landed basically on Kelowna. And so a lot of people wanted their origin story. They were Vikings. Vikings were really
Yeah.
big at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I figured, yeah, okay, it's not that big a deal. I'll stop. I'll write that one and get that one out there. And then if the origin stories kick off, I'll keep writing origin stories because lots of people want to know about where did this character come from? Where did the assassins, the Broken Blade assassins? Oh, your assassins are so unique. They kill in a unique way. Where did they come from? How did they get started? So I thought maybe, I'll be able to keep going. But yeah, that was a terrible decision. That was
Okay.
a terrible decision. I think it took, 3 or 4 years just to earn back enough money
Oh,
to
wow.
break even. Yeah,
Wow.
it didn't sell. Amazon's guidelines have changed now, but at the time, it was a standalone novel. It comes in between book 3 and 4 would be the best place to put it at three and a
Okay.
half. Well, you couldn't do that at the time,
Yeah. Yeah.
and at last when I last released when book 7, I released book 7. You still couldn't. Indie authors couldn't do it. Traditional publishers could do 1.5, 3.5,
Yep. Yep.
and
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
haven't
That.
I haven't got. I actually just got the print book for book 8 up now, and I noticed that there might be a way for indie authors to do it now. So if we can, and I can squeeze that one in at 3.5, then maybe I'll consider going back to them. But yeah, as a standalone novel, it just kind of hung out there in dead space, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I talked to people like 2 years after I released it, and they're like, oh, when's your next book coming? I'm dying for your next book, and I'm like, well, have you read The Northman? Well, I don't even know what that is. And I'm like, wow, how do you? I mean, it's just hanging out there in dead space. How do you get people to know? You got 2,500, 3,000 people following your Facebook page, but when you put a post, it goes out to 20 or 30 if you're lucky.
Yeah.
So a
Yeah.
lot of people didn't even, without advertising. So a lot of people didn't even know about it. And then it wasn't as big as my rest of the one. It was an origin story, so it was only about 80,000 words. So it was half the size of most books, a third the size of some, and it just kind of hung out there in dead space. And the people that read it loved it. The ones that got a hold of it read it, they
Yeah.
loved it because what happens in that book directly affects what happens in book 4. You don't have to read it to understand anything or know anything, but it does give you a better understanding if you do.
You know
But
what's
yeah, it's
wild? You know what's wild? Sorry, I just decided to I try and find it because I hadn't seen it before. So I totally see what you're saying though, because for some reason, yeah, it's like not, yeah, because it still is not being linked to your other series at all. Yeah, like I actually was able to find Sins of the Past actually,
well,
but not the Northman. I
Yeah,
actually
the
had to
Coolbaugh
search for
umbrella.
your name instead of, yeah, that's really weird. Yeah, so Amazon's still kind of keeping it separate. That's super interesting.
I'm gonna. I gotta. I gotta go in and clean some things up with. I still got. I still got the. I got the approval for the print book this morning,
Hmm.
but I went back and changed a couple of things, so it's up and it's available for sale. I didn't change anything on the inside.
Such a
It's
cool
just
cover.
other
Such a cool
stuff,
cover.
right? So it's the print book is now available for
Oh, that's
sale,
cool.
but I want to go back and make some other changes. Once I do, I'm going to see if I can link that Northman in because I saw something under series changes
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
about point 0.5 books.
Yep.
So, like I said, I haven't published in 2 years, so getting this book up was kind of a pain. The ebook side went fine, but Amazon changed their sizing requirements and
Oh,
everything
yeah.
for
Yeah.
print books, and we were
Yep.
having a heck of a time getting it to fit. And oh man,
Even like the last like 10 months, they've made a bunch of changes. Like,
yeah,
yeah, I've had friends that published a year ago was like their last book, and then they're like, oh, no big deal. And then, yeah, like my friend right now, he's like his ebook's December, but his print's like January. He's like, he
yeah,
can't get it to match at all. It's just like, they're
yeah.
just so strange right now. But yeah, that's really interesting. Well, I'm gonna have to check that one out too because I yeah, that one didn't pop up anytime I looked for you on Amazon. So
Yeah.
to add that one to the list. But that's really interesting. Well, I know we're wrapping up on time here, JD, but I definitely got to ask if you could interview one of your characters, which one would it be, and what would you want to ask them?
Oh, that's a good question. I know what I put for an answer, but number one would probably be Kale. Yeah, that guy takes a lot of crap and just keeps on ticking. But
My spirit animal right now.
oh yeah, yeah, my guardian angel.
Yeah, yeah,
He yeah, I don't under he's very easy to write. He does have a lot of my qualities. I think it's pretty
oh,
much a
cool.
given that most writers are going to put some of them, especially into their main character, is usually the one
Yeah,
they identify most with, type of thing.
yeah.
So I can see a piece of me in there, but as a pastor writer, sometimes I don't understand how he just keeps on going. He just keeps on going and keeps on going. It's worse than the Energizer Bunny, but he's had a long, hard road, and it's well, for him, it's been a couple hundred years longer than everybody else
Hmm.
for reasons I won't say spoiler wise. But uh, from book one to book eight, I think we're only talking about 8 or 9 years.
Hmm. Well,
He had an extra couple hundred in there for him because of the storyline
hmm.
in earlier books, but for the most part, it's only been 8 or 9 years. But yeah, he's gone through a ton of crap. I don't know how he keeps going.
Hmm.
I have a I have a sneaking suspicion when he cracks, it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah,
But I guess we'll wait and find out.
yeah, yeah. That's fair. Well, that's a great answer. So I know we're gonna talk a little bit here about news, updates, current projects, anything like that that you can share with us before we head out for today.
Book eight's out for sale now in both
Such
ebook
a cool cover.
and print. And Podium hasn't given me a date for the audiobook, but that's not
Okay.
really surprising. They have a lot of stuff to line up on their end. I'm hoping I hear something in the next couple of weeks to a month.
Okay.
And yeah, other than that cozy one I'm working on, book nine will be probably the majority of my priority.
Cool.
I wouldn't mind having it. I wouldn't mind having it into beta around Christmas time.
Oh, nice.
That's the plan.
Yeah, yeah.
Though I rarely hit my goals, so I guess we'll see what happens. But
I know that feeling.
man, I'm telling you, sometimes it's just like there's not enough hours in the day,
I
and
definitely know that feeling, JD.
I don't write after supper anymore. I use that for relaxing time. I
Yeah, yeah,
usually
yeah.
hop on the bike, go for a ride if it's summertime, or
Nice.
catch up on series. I see there's a couple of good series coming out that I need to get caught up on so I can
Yeah,
watch
yeah.
the new seasons. And
Yep.
I'm also a gamer, so that kind of
Nice.
tends to get in the way. But
That's awesome.
I started playing that Wu Chang Fallen Feather.
Oh, yeah,
Now
yeah,
I like that game. Lots of cursing and swearing, and
yeah.
I think I respect my character 100 times to get by some bosses, but still plugging my way on that one.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Oh, that's awesome. That's super cool. Well, I want to thank you again for coming, JD. This was great. You said a lot of things where I'm like, dang, I gotta bumped up book one for me, and I'm definitely gonna go check out the Northman now too. But thank you really so much for coming on and talk with us. It was great to talk about your world and writing, but also some craft and just some of the Kindle stuff and why and those kind of questions because there's a lot of people on here that are watching and stuff that are, in the same boat or they're just about to be. So it's great to get that
Yeah.
kind of experience. But I really appreciate you coming on today and, sharing everything with us and, talking about your books. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me. I
Yeah, no
appreciate it.
problem.
I don't do podcasts very often, but you know, they're fun to come on every now and then, especially if it's only one on one or three people. I'm not a big fan of the bigger ones when there's six or seven people, but
Yeah, it's kind of hard. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of it's
I'm a
kind of
fan.
hard to it's kind of hard to keep up with everyone. But I like the smaller ones, so yeah, it was a good time. Glad I came.
Yeah, cool. Well, like I said, when you get closer, like I always give veterans the podcast and alum like first dibs. I have a few people that haven't been on in 2 seasons for season five. They got like books 5 or 6 coming out.
Yeah,
So if you have anything like that in the future, just let me know. I can, definitely have you on for season 6. Save a slot for you. You just say the word, we'll do that. I just want to remind our audience, JD's links can be found anywhere below here where you're watching or listening to this podcast. You can go to my website as well. It's linked. You can find everything. So if you guys, have any questions or anything like that for JD, you can send them my way or just contact him directly. But again, we just want to make sure everybody's reviewing the products that they are getting from our authors, creators, audio narrators, that kind of thing. A couple editors we'll have on for season 5 as well, which will be really cool. So please make sure you guys are doing that just because it helps everybody out. JD, thank you again for coming on. I hope you have a great rest of the, day, evening, and good luck with, all the writing and everything. If there's anything I can do for in the meantime, send me anything and I'll share it on our podcast group for you, or you can always join as well. Email me anything and I can always just throw it up really quickly on all my social media pages, and we'll get your announcements and things like that out there. So
perfect. Sounds good. Thank you.
awesome. Yep. Well, you have a good rest of the day, my friend, and I will see you later. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you too. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Bye.